Okay, I'm making this video as as a precursor to the beginner guide to money and currency, but I'm raising it because I've become aware of proposed legislation to begin to regulate the scrap metal business within South Australia, and a proposed series of laws which are open for feedback and submission before they are fed into law. Laws which are currently in place in the eastern states, Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria, and which they propose to introduce in South Australia. Now, having a look at this draft document, there's a number of things which are in alignment with the eastern states laws, but which are substantially onerous requirements. These include the government intends to define a definition of scrap metal, which may or may not include gold and silver, but will include all of the major scrap metals: iron, copper, nickel, aluminium, steel, and lead, and basically anything that's got metal in it and is of commercial value. A second thing about this proposal is that there's going to be a requirement to register dealers in scrap metal. This includes background checks for what they say is probity. The most important thing that is actually proposed here is really egregious, is a prohibition on cash. In other words, if you're a customer who has copper or other metals and wish to sell it, that you cannot do cash deals with a licensed dealer, but instead must take a bank payment or other means. And they're also prohibiting things like cryptos, bitcoins, and checks payable in cash. They are proposing for an identification requirement for all transactions for both buyer and seller. They are also proposing record keeping of all transactions for a certain period of time. In addition to things like the ability to close down non-compliant businesses, the powers for police to demand information about transactions that have occurred, and things like that. Importantly, it is likely, and this is the case in New South Wales at least, that even sole traders and individuals who buy, receive and obtain scrap metal, or buy, receive or accept under arrangements, offer to receive or accept under arrangement scrap metal, are also will also come under the umbrella of these proposed laws. All right, that all sounds well and good. I mean, they've done it in the eastern states, so why don't we do it in South Australia? Because it's going to ostensibly suppress, or is intended to control the theft of, particularly of copper, but also of other scrap metals, so that thieves cannot sell their metal. But thinking about this, what these laws are, proposed laws are effectively a prohibition on money itself. It is not the cash dollar that is the money, but the metal is the money. Copper is money and has been used for centuries throughout history as money, as direct exchange for other items of value. Unfortunately, at the moment, scrapping of metal is one of the few remaining businesses for individuals to be able to obtain a free income, an income as a free person, which means completely confidential, it's for free people. Scrapping metal is one of the few remaining businesses that cash privately and confidentially. It is a means for certain individuals, of which I am one, to earn a free income. They do this by obtaining metal by legitimate means and selling it for metal, or for taking that metal and exchanging it for goods, as I also do. So, in effect, an important implication of these laws is that it is a prohibition on money and for exchanges in money. It is a major imposition on the ability of free people to exchange within the law. What should we do about this legislation? Well, one of the ways that is proposed, and is what is being asked in this draft document, is that for people to submit a submission and give their feedback on whether they think this is a good law or not, or to give their arguments about certain elements of whether the law is implemented. But I've got to say that by the act of putting in a submission, you are accepting government control over you. You are also accepting the legitimacy of this law that is being proposed. It is likely that, sure, certain elements of what you say or submit may be received and may be listened to, but not in whole. And certainly if you were to propose that the entire law that is currently proposed is a very bad idea and should be scrapped in entirety, you would not be listened to. You have very limited power to change the proposed law by putting in a submission. I actually don't recommend that we do submit. What I think we should be doing is defying this law by continuing to exchange metal for dollars as private, free individuals, even though that's not particularly recommended, only as certain points of contact with the dollar system. In particular, to exchange metal, copper for silver, copper for gold, silver for copper, silver for gold, and gold for copper. We need to be able to privately exchange those metals on an individual basis amongst ourselves, even if the law says that this is illegal, as this proposed law is likely to do. If I were to report, or somebody was to report that, hey, you guys are actually outlawing money itself in this law, you would be laughed out of house. And you would not be taken credibly. But I think this is a very serious implication of this proposed law, that it is basically money itself that is being outlawed. Our response as free people is to act as if that law did not exist, because it is completely illegitimate, because it completely hinders our ability to exchange metal for goods, metal for other metals as free people, and consequently to achieve our ends, to achieve private free incomes, and to behave as free people. That's my take on these laws. I think they actually are very important. They are a major retrograde step in regards to human freedom. Yes, we must oppose them, and we will defy them.